hoping more people will come because I think this particular presentation is probably one of the most important ones throughout the year. I always give one every year in October, usually the second or third week, for alumni that have been 1 year out so that you can learn reality. Yes, I'm a big proponent of dealing with the real world, 2 feet on the floor, vision clear, because you're going to need it. And these guys will tell you why. All right, our first presenter is Dr. Christina Greengard, and she received, you want to stand up so they know who you are? Thank you. Dr. Christina Greengard received her bachelor's degree in the science of psychology from Arizona State in 2012, and her doctorate in naturopathic medicine from SCNM in 2018. Dr. Greengard is owner and financial director of Med Royal, a naturopathic clinic in Chandler with 7 different naturopathic physicians. Even with Med Royal being in its infancy, its inaugural year has shown such great success that it has been nominated in 4 categories in this year's Best of Chandler 2019, including Best New Business, Best Men's Wellness, Best Urgent Care, and Best OBGYN. Although Med Royal keeps her quite busy, Dr. Greengard still finds time to enjoy her hobbies, such as traveling, yoga, finding new ways for people to enjoy her vegan cooking, and spending time with friends and family. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Dr. Christina.
Sure. So I think my case is a little bit different because in my 4th year here, me and my business partners, we began opening Med Royal so that as soon as we got licensed in October, so 3 months after graduation, we could just hit the ground running. That was very stressful to do in the 4th year when you're studying for NCLEX and trying to get life together. But we did it and we're here. And I'm here to answer your questions about basically what it's like to be a new business owner and being a new baby doctor at the same time. It's really difficult. So yeah, that's my story. I'll keep it short and simple.
Wow, that really is sweet and simple. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. You had at least another 4 minutes.
That's all right. I'm opening up for questions.
You're opening up, I'm sure you're going to get quite a few. All right, with that being said, I'm going to introduce you our next, we're going alphabetical order by last name, guys, just so that you know. Okay, Dr. Jennifer Habashi, stand up so they know who you are. There you go. Dr. Jennifer Habashi is a naturopathic primary care physician with advanced training and knowledge of medical aesthetics, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, weight management, and intravenous therapy. After graduating from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, with a bachelor's degree in biology, she went on to attain her master's degree in medical health sciences from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and then with her medical degree from Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. During her medical school, Dr. Habashi completed a rigorous 6-month internship at the Hormone Zone under the direct supervision of Dr. Robinson and Dr. Bosch. She was then hired as a full-time associate doctor post-graduation. Dr. Habashi brings a wealth of experience and passion for age management medicine, along with her understanding of advanced hormone replacement therapy. Dr. Habashi brings a distinct specialization to the Hormone Zone with a focus on non-surgical cosmetic procedures. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Dr. Habashi. Why don't you stand up so they can hear you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. So again, my name is Dr. Jennifer Habashi. I'm really happy to be in front of you all today. Thank you for having me. So my story, I'll keep it short and simple as well. So I started my internship at the Hormone Zone during the last 2 quarters of my 4th year. I knew that I wanted to do aesthetics, and I knew that that company in particular was really looking for somebody that they can add to do all the aesthetics in their practice. So I really kind of took it upon myself, about 6 months prior to graduation, to really reach out to people that I knew were looking for my niche, and reached out to them. They were interested in doing a student shift, and so I did the shift with them for 6 months. And then after that, they kind of hired me after graduation. But I think the most important thing was that I was able to show that I could add value to their practice. So during my last 6 months before I graduated, I did a lot of training through National Laser Institute. So I did all my Botox training, fillers, PDO threading, things like that. So that way they couldn't say no to hiring, because I already had my training prior to starting officially. And so I started right after graduation. I've been working there for the past year or so, and it's been really, really awesome. It's been really great. So I'm open to answering any questions you guys have. That's it.
Okay, so our next presenter is going to be Dan Wool. Dr. Wool. Dr. Dan Wool specializes in natural treatments of GI and autoimmune disorders and other stress conditions that drain the energy of successful professionals. He is a staff physician in Scottsdale and Tempe offices of Chambers Clinic, Arizona's largest naturopathic and integrative health practice. Prior to becoming a naturopathic physician, Dr. Wool spent 20 years as a public relations consultant for the Fortune 500 companies. When he stressed himself sick, naturopathic doctors had the answers to restore him to health, and he found a calling. In addition to treating patients, Dr. Wool is a writer and public speaker. He was the keynote speaker at the SCNM 2018 White Coat and graduation ceremonies, and he regularly speaks at organizations throughout the Valley on the benefits of naturopathic medicine. He is most passionate about natural wellness and self-care for busy professionals, a topic he regularly discusses on his website, drdanwool.com, and his Self-Care Success Secrets Health podcast. In addition to a medical doctorate he earned at SCNM, Dr. Wool also holds an MBA from ASU and a bachelor's degree from USC. He lives in Phoenix with his 2 sons, aged 16 and 13, enjoys hiking, golf, and following the NHL, hockey, and Formula One auto race. We'll have to talk.
Oh, yeah.
My ex-husband was a race driver. Following the NHL, hockey, and Formula One auto racing. With that, let's give a nice warm welcome to Dr.
Thank you, Joanna. Real quick, just show of hands. Who's a first or second year student in the room? Okay, 3rd year, 4th year? Okay, Lily. So Lily. So a few things. I'll try and keep it as brief as possible, but I also am a talker. So what I've done since graduation, it's all been a blur, it's all gone fast, and it feels like 10 years have been crammed into one, which I hear is normal. So I started freaking out probably around September of 4th year. I come to SCNM a little differently than most people. I have kids, a house. I did this as a second career. So not having a job when I graduated, or not having that security or that safety net, I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but this is a bubble. And I started to see, okay, once we pass boards and get out there, what am I going to do? What am I going to do that summer? What am I going to do for a job? Oh my gosh, my loans are ending. I had that freak out real early, and this woman saved me. And if she is not on your speed dial, she should be right away. it starts in first year, she gives all these presentations, and we all ignore them, and we, oh, yeah, resume, and you need to do everything that this woman says. So I told you I was gonna pump the tires. I'm doing it now.
I didn't pay him, guys.
I know. So back to the freak out, around December, I'm like, gosh, and I started shadowing doctors, and I shadowed some doctors that didn't have a lot going on sometimes, or sometimes it just wasn't the right fit, and I really started to panic. And I went to Joanna, and I said, listen, I told her the story I just told all you, and I said, I need somebody and something, an experienced doc, somebody who's hiring, somebody who I can really connect with. And she started hooking me up with lots of people, and I started to go shadow them. I met Keith Chambers probably around March of 2018. We totally clicked. We have similar backgrounds. He's a great businessman. He's a great naturopathic physician. He runs a large office with other great naturopathic physicians. And so I started shadowing there, and eventually landed as a staff physician. He let me precept my first about 6 weeks or so until I got my license. That was not before going on a 3-week trip after boards. And I had a drink with this woman in Dubrovnik, which was one of the highlights. It's totally cool. And anyway, that's essentially how I got there. But it's really the networking toward that and finding the things that you need that are really important. And you have to advocate for yourself. So with that, I'll sit down and we'll get into the other questions and things.
Our last presenter is Dr. Berlin Wright. And Dr. Wright grew up in Boulder, Colorado, and found her happy place in the Arizona sun while attending ASU. She graduated from Barrett, the Honors College at ASU with a Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology and a minor in psychology. She then completed her 4-year accredited degree at Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in Tempe. She is currently completing her first-year family practice residency at SCNM and will be continuing for a second-year position. For as long as she can remember, she wanted to become a doctor and is grateful to have found naturopathic medicine. She strives to find and addresses the root cause of health conditions and believes in the body's innate ability to heal when given the opportunity. She understands that everyone is unique and creates individualized treatment plans using acupuncture, IV, homeopathy, supplements, and lifestyle interventions. She specializes in treating mental health, autoimmune, and chronic diseases and addiction. She loves working with patients through their journey to health. In her free time, she enjoys volunteering with Naturopaths Without Borders, reading, practicing yoga, hiking, shopping at farmers markets, traveling, and cuddling with her 2 chihuahuas. Let's give a nice warm welcome.
Yeah, so my story is a little bit different because I'm obviously doing a residency and they're all already practicing out in the real world. So I always knew that I wanted to do a residency, and that's totally personal preference. Some people want to do it, some people don't. You don't have to. But I just always wanted to, and I thought that I wanted to practice outside the school just to get a different perspective, see what it's like in private practice. So I ended up applying to a bunch of different private practices, and I didn't match, which was super disappointing. I was like distraught, crying all the time. I was a hot mess for a little bit. But some people don't match, and then residencies continue to come out, and you can just apply to them directly. And so a spot opened up at the school a couple months later, and I ended up applying, and I got that, and so that's why I'm here. So I did a first year, and I just started my second year, and I love it here. And I just want to remind everyone that everything works out how it's supposed to. So there's definitely some freak out, and there's stuff that you should be prepared for and do, depending on what path you want to take, but everything does work out how it's supposed to. So yeah, I can just do questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions? I mean, I've got questions I can ask, but they're here for you.
I have questions.
Yay.
At the hormone zone, it specifically said you don't do surgery. Is there a particular reason why, or is that not a part of your interest?
So we do minor surgery. I do. So we really specialize in pellet insertions. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. So we do a lot of that, which is minor surgeries.
So that's not the bulk of my patients, but I do hormone replacement therapy in terms of pills. So we do a little bit of
Mr. Doctor, I'm sorry, did I have your name?
Christina.
Christina,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Dr. Greengard.
Yes.
So, do you recommend going the path that you took, or do you recommend starting earlier, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, looking back on it now, and another doctor was supposed to join us today, Dr. Muro, who's with Regenerative Health, and he started his clinic with Dr. Vance Inouye, who was an established physician. And I wish that we would have done something like that where we had somebody who was established that came onto our team. Instead, it was essentially 6 baby docs who just brand new to practicing medicine, and now we're opening a business. And with that comes a lot of pressure for marketing to make sure these people get paid so that they have patients. If you have an established doc, then they just bring their patients with them. So, yes, I love that we opened our own clinic and that I didn't have to, try to find a job from anybody, but the headache that came with it, it depends on the day you ask me if I like this choice or not. Today I love it because on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm now working from home because I'm a bookkeeper. So I love it on the days that I'm working from home and I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something. The days where I'm having to do bookkeeping and I have to be HR and then front desk coverage and make sure all the supplies are stocked and then see 7 patients, those days, not so much. So, but I think, in another couple of years it's going to be, I'll definitely like that I chose this path. My adrenals are still suffering, but I'm working on healing those now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How did you guys go about getting those initial clients and kind of marketing?
So it was a lot of things. We tried, so my business partners and I, it's myself and then 2 other people, all 3 of us are extremely introverted. So we tried to do some like B&I stuff, some networking out in the community, and it just wasn't for us. We're not the type of people to go up and talk to people and tell them about the business. What works the best for us introverts is Facebook and inserting ourselves into groups. So like our clinic is in Chandler, so there's a lot of different Chandler Facebook groups. So we would go in there and people would comment or put posts like, oh, I have this weird rash, what do you guys think it is? And so we'd be like, oh, what's our chance? We could say, oh, you should come check out that oil. We can look at that for you. We'll do a free consult, things like that. And that's where we got a lot of our business, honestly. So we knew we were introverts, so hiding behind that screen helped us a lot. And then, of course, giving really good quality care, the referrals just came like wildfire. So, yeah.
That's a really great way to be. I'm probably going to arm wrestle Jen to this point, but it's funny. I've seen 5 people since graduating, and these are 3 of them. And I saw Jen because I visited her BNI chapter. So for those of you who don't know, it's Business Networking International. The way it works is that they have 1 person in the group for each category. So there's a plumber, there's 1 plumber, and that's the plumber for that group. And she's the naturopath for her group. I am the naturopath for the group that I'm in. So that's been incredibly helpful. The whole goal of the organization is referral networks. And I learned something the hard way because my October through December in my first year, even though I'm in a big clinic and get some clients thrown over the wall, I had 1 week where I had a 4-year-old autistic child, which I don't really see a lot of experience with that. And then I had a 97-year-old grandmother who was one of Dr. Weiss's heart patients. And it's not what I wanted to treat. And it was kind of a wake-up call like, hey, if you want to treat a certain population of people or do a certain kind of treatment, you've got to get out there and make that happen. So the marketing becomes really important. You have to get out and market yourself. So you got to do it in person. You have to do it online. And it's a hard thing to do. I'll be honest, at the end of the day, when you're tired and you're still thinking about patients that you saw and all this, to actually sit down and get on and be engaged and do those sorts of things. But you have to have multiple avenues of referrals. You can't just sit there in your office and expect patients to come. We're not MDs. We don't have insurance companies funneling us stuff. So you have to go out there and find it. And as Christina said, they're out there. They're out there. They're dying to have a naturopath and doctors like us to do it. But you actually have to put a little thought and a little effort into it and get out there and do it.
This is Christine. I have a quick question. So in the process of year 4, when you were trying to establish your practice and try to get everything all together, regarding real estate, regarding just basically trying to choose the location and the back end of the business, what resources did you look at? Did you look at a particular YouTube video? Did you look at a particular guru? Did you talk to any other person regarding that?
We really didn't. So my husband, he is a tax and estate and business attorney. So I guess that would really be the only expert that we consulted. As far as like the location and choosing the actual clinic itself, we hired a broker for that. And then we were really organized. So of course, you're already so busy in school, regardless of what year you're in. And so we had to do a lot of organizing and prioritizing our schoolwork, and then also meeting to come up with a plan of, okay, first we need to get our LLC filed. We have to come up with what our brand is, what is our actual goal. Once you figure out how you want to practice and how you want the community to perceive your clinic, then you can start thinking about where you want to be located in Arizona, and if there's other clinics in that area that compete with what you're doing. So we were going back and forth between Scottsdale and Chandler. Scottsdale we knew would have more money, would probably have more business, but it was too saturated for what we were doing. There was a lot of people doing the same things. So that's what we just go to Chandler. And so I think in the very beginning of opening Negro, we struggled with business because people in Chandler, especially where we're located, it's an older population, so they're very used to dealing with Medicare and going through insurance. And so cash pay is not something that people are talking about in Chandler, like they are in Scottsdale. And so you have to really kind of immerse yourself in the demographic in the area that you're thinking about going, and understand how they think, what are their typical medical conditions, and how do you market to those people. And so that was like really what took up most of our time that first year, other than actually building the clinic. Because unless you have that foundation, you'll be lost once you open the doors. You won't know what steps to take next. So, and that's something, honestly, that if I had known that we wanted to open the clinic right when we graduated, I would have started making those decisions now, first year, second year, third year, because it really takes a lot of brainstorming. And had I known the direction that we wanted to go, I think I would have been a little bit more strategic about what rotations I was put on, or like what off sites that I was put at, so that I could shadow a little bit better, and I could do some trainings and take advantage of the student costs instead of now paying like 3 times as a physician. So really thinking about that right now it'll definitely help you, regardless of whether you're going to open your clinic or get hired by another one. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it kind of, it did, because I'm in that mindset right now. I'm year 2, almost going on to year 3 soon. And I'm thinking about all these things. I'm like, okay, do I want to join a practice? Do I want to start a practice? Where do I want to practice? Who would be essentially on my team? What experts do I need to consult? How much financial basis do I need to have, etc. So that is it's just like a mental process I'm going through on the back burner of school, of course. I just needed just like a starting direction, and definitely I talked with Joanne Hagen recently, and we had our own talks, and I thought she was like very beneficial in like trying to push me in the right direction, trying to formulate some type of organized plan, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, organization and having that team and knowing who's in place and who's doing what is ideal to helping a business succeed.
Yeah, and actually you bring up a really good point, because one thing, also a piece of advice that I would like to give all of you, I think everybody can take it really, is that trying to do a lot of personal discovery right now while you're in school and identifying what your strengths and your weaknesses are, because if you do choose to open a clinic with somebody, you're going to want to choose a partner whose strengths are your weaknesses and vice versa. Because if I would say I actually have found partners like that. The only place where we don't match is that we're all introverted. Had I shown a partner who was extroverted but also had strengths where my weaknesses were, I think it would have been easier to market, in the very beginning. So really trying to identify what those strengths and weaknesses are. And one way you can do that, and not just in school, not just academically, but getting like a little, I don't know if you have time to get a job, like outside of school, something that's more administrative, and you can see, am I good at multitasking? Am I good at making forms, or being organized, keeping track of patient files, little things like that. You take advantage of it now, you think that, oh, when I graduate, somebody will take care of that for me. That's not always the case. So you need to try to identify what that is now.
Really briefly, sorry, because I gotta go. I know Dr. Mina or Dr. Wright, your answers, but do you, Dr. Will and Dr. Bacha, do you guys have front desk staff? And if you do you feel like you could have done the job without them?
So we do have front desk staff. There was a point in time where we were in a transition from front desk that were there for a long time, and then people who just started. And the difference was really like night and day. Like your front desk staff is so important. So if nothing else, if you don't have any other partners, you just have one person who's really, really good at like management and handling phone calls and sending out emails and stuff like that, that'll really save your practice for sure.
Yeah, we're a large established practice, so we do have a front desk staff, but like Dr. Bachi is saying, that we do have turnover, and it's painful when that happens. And having gone in there as a new doc and being, I can hand my prescription to somebody, I can do, I like when that happens, it's to think now that there are some tasks that I would have to do myself it becomes a little more stressful. I would think that, now that said, if I just came out and was on my own, I would just automatically do those tasks as part of it, and there's probably really good learning in that. It's really good learning to know what to do and how to call in your scripts. It's really good learning to, be able to, be HIPAA compliant and file your treatment sheets, and it's really good learning to process blood on your own. We have a blood draw station, to do IVs on your own and that sort of thing. Like like I said, we have a big practice of a nurse practitioner who does that stuff. But I'm always in there every now and again to keep my skills sharp, because there's times when there's lulls or we get too busy, we got to jump in and do it. But there's advantages both ways. But yeah, I agree. It is helpful. It is very helpful.
Thank you.
I have a question for Dr. Wright. What steps did you take while you were at SCNM for 4 years to help the CV or make yourself a good applicant to receive a residency?
So Joanna's a great person to go to for all of that, because she has like specifics on like residency requirements and like what makes you a good applicant and all that stuff. So I did meet with her probably I don't know what year, early on, first or second year, because I knew I wanted to. So I did some research with Dr. Langland. I tried to keep my grades up and do the best I could in school. I was also involved in clubs and had like vice president roles, like higher up board roles. And then I had extracurriculars, which not necessarily they look at like and disqualify if you don't, but like I did stuff outside of school, like I had another job, so I could show that I could like manage different things. So those are the main things that I did during school. And then also one good thing is once you're in clinic, making good, you know, like having a good reputation and making good connections with the doctors there. And so specifically if you want to apply to the school, then they know who you are already. So going into the process of interviewing and stuff, they already know you and they know what you know, are like in your clinical thinking and all that stuff. And that goes for private practices as well. If there's one that you know that you really want, then I would try to shadow them ahead of time so that you build a relationship with them. I don't know if you have anything to add about things that they look for.
No, you said it all. Yep. Right on.
What was your thinking for why you wanted to do this?
A few things. I know who I am and I'm not a super confident person who's like, you know, I'm gonna go market and find all these patients and feel 100% like confident in doing treatment plans and all that stuff. So I sort of wanted an environment that was really supportive where I felt like I could grow and like build confidence. There's also, specifically at the school, there's a lot of benefits of, you know, connections or resources, just stuff like that.
That's a really good point. I'm actually going to go off of that. So if you decide if you're not going to do residency and immediately once you get licensed you want to work for another clinic, my advice to all of you, regardless of how well equipped you feel like you are once you're licensed, like I'm ready to go, I can see all the patients, I'm totally confident in everything. There are going to be patients that come in your door that you are like, what the heck is going on? Do I send this person to the emergency room or is this something I can treat with herbs? And it would be really helpful to have an experienced doc there with you, whether it's with residency or working with Dr. Chambers or the hormone zone, where you have all these people that you can ask these things to. That's one thing that I wish that we had had in the very beginning of opening my room. Now we have established docs within our clinic, but in the beginning we did not. So we relied on each other. The baby docs relied on the other baby docs for these really important things that you need to know. So that was really stressful and just added to your already initial stress of being brand new. So that's my advice. Somehow get a mentor or somebody you can ask questions to.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's something that probably all of us really didn't think about. Yeah, I was one, I thought, because I had a marketing background, I'm like, I'm going to get out, I'm going to do this. I had a business plan in my head for what I wanted to do once I passed boards and all that. And then I started to realize when I was in clinic that, like, you don't know what you don't know. And there's only so many docs out there. And I also, my journey to naturopathy started because I was a naturopathic patient. And that doctor offered, at the last second, offered a residency. And I went through that process and applied for it. And it made me realize that I should have gone through the whole process. Because I was cynical and I was sitting in clinic going, well, I don't want to be sitting there at the desk all day long. You know what? The main thing that you can get is reps. To see everything and see it as much as possible, because like Dr. Greengard's saying is it'll walk in the door and you're going to be like, I have no idea what this is. My first patient was constipation. It said it on the EMR, CC constipation. Naturopath, I got this. This is amazing. This woman, 10 out of 10 pain. I walk into the lobby. She's carrying her stomach with her, and she can't even get out. She's walking slowly, antalgic, and I'm like, what the hell? I examined her. Her entire belly is red. I was precepting, so I literally fled from the room. Excuse me 1 second. Like ran into Dr. Chambers, and like, yes. He takes a look at it. He's got 10 years experience. He's just like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, castor oil pack? That's a great idea, and I want to image it. Okay, great. What I really wanted to do was send it to the ER because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And castor oil pack made her better. She came back the next day after me being up all night long. But to have those people to be able to, and whether you're, you're a solo practitioner or you're working in a practice or you have great classmates that you can call, it's really important because I've called on docs that I shadowed in residency, but I wish I saw more cases. I wish I didn't treat the residency process the way I treated it because I think I would have been a great resident. But I'm kind of getting that residency now with an established clinic. But it's essentially the first year. I really lucked out. So I would just to echo what the others are saying, just don't ignore that. It's really important. You have to get out there and be visible and do everything that they say. But yeah, residencies are awesome.
One of the big benefits of being here is you see so many patients.
Yeah.
And first day starting residency, you see 10 to 20 patients or whatever it is first week. And that's a huge experience thing. And you're prepping for all these patients and seeing all this pathology and stuff that you might see outside, but you might not. So that is definitely a benefit of being in the school.
Out of the rest of your graduating class, do you know if everyone found a job right away, or you guys kind of super lucky, or is everyone kind of happy with where they are?
Our class was so special and everybody.
Everyone's making millions of dollars and they're so happy.
Yeah, and Joanna probably knows the statistics better.
Yeah, I know.
But some people didn't go into practice right away too. Some were just exhausted.
5% already had jobs before they graduated.
Yeah, but I know some people who traveled. I know others who just said, I'm going to take boards in February and just take this time to myself to understand what I want to do. So everybody has a little bit of a different strategy, and everybody has a different background and kind of a different way that they approach it. I think most people know, like she said, are on the track. You take boards, you get a job, and that sort of thing.
I'm also curious if the job market here was pretty open, or if you knew a lot of people had to move elsewhere to find jobs, or if it was enough for everybody.
I get the sense that it is. So you have the opportunity to do what you want. That you can self-direct. That's a really exciting thing. Whether you do that in an unlicensed state or you do that here in Arizona, the sooner you figure that out with where you want to be, the easier that those decisions start to become. If you want to be here in the Valley, then you start networking with doctors in the Valley. If you want to do, the cardiology, you find all the naturopathic cardiologists. If you want to do, it's just try to get specific on what you want, and then the rest will take care of itself. I know a lot of our classmates went back and moved back to their towns. They're planning to use the opportunity to move to a new state, either by themselves or with their family. So it's just, you can do whatever you want, as long as you put your mind to it and get, and have the right connections so you're visible about it. I think that's one of the exciting things. Something that nobody really tells us is, yes, we're doctors, but we're also entrepreneurs. There's an entrepreneurial aspect to what we do. Whether you're starting a big business or you're just trying to be a person within a larger practice, you still have to kind of get your own name out there. So it's one of the exciting things about being a naturopathic physician. We get to do that. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
As far as the marketing, as you were saying, and you have to be your own entrepreneur and whatnot, did you any of you start doing things before you graduated to perpetuate that, or when you were done to already have some potential patients?
Personally, for me, I grew up here, literally 5 minutes down the street, and so I had a lot of family and friends who were in town, so that was probably 50% of our patient population in the first month. And then they referred people, of course. But that, and then if you form good relationships, good rapport with the patients here while you're on the studentship, some of them follow you just naturally. One thing that I did is I had a website. I had an idea first year actually of what I wanted my clinic to be called. It's not Monroe, it was something else. but I wanted a domain name and I wanted to secure the LLC. And I used that website, at the time I was a TA, and so I would post a lot of my materials to it because I wanted traffic going to it. So that was kind of helping me build that online presence. And so now we have that domain tied to the Royal domain so that when people search for like natural medicine or whatever, we're higher up with our SEOs and all of that. So that was one thing I did as far as the online presence goes. I know a lot of people are doing, as they're in school, they're doing like Instagram posts and talking about what they're learning about. I think that's a great idea too, because then you get people interested, especially people who are your friends, like from high school or whatever, that are watching what you're doing, and you're bringing awareness not only to you as a physician, but to our naturopathy, really. And so one day in the future when they're like, oh, a naturopathic doctor, I think I'm going to go see one of those. Oh yeah, I remember my friend, she used to post stuff on Instagram all the time. So people will remember you. They might not meet you right then, but making posts like that and making people aware of what you do, I think keeps your name in their mind.
I did some stuff. I just had a corporate background. I wanted to be kind of the corporate naturopath, and I had a model to like go into companies and help them and that sort of thing. So I started posting about, cube life essentially, and how to be healthy in your cube. So I had a blog I would post about once a month, and then I started a podcast where I interviewed people that I knew just from my former career, where I would just interview them on different topics. So I started doing that, and the whole goal was, well, it would get the ball rolling if I start my own thing afterwards. At worst, when I realized that I wanted to work in a clinic and do that, at worst it makes me look more attractive to an employer. You say, oh, I've got a full LinkedIn page, I've got a really nice Instagram feed, I've got and it's all, my passion is this. And I think it's really important to make it something that's your passion too, so that it's easy for you to talk about. And we have other classmates. I'm thinking of Jamil Saish. Go check his stuff out, it's great. But he started year 2 just doing these 60-second Instagram videos every single day. I think he's done about 400 of them now. Just his passion, he thinks he's going to be the next Tony Robbins, and he's an amazing mind-body practitioner. And none of that stuff kind of flies in the face of practicing medicine without a license, when, that's the big hand slap that you're going to get, right, if you're not pass your boards. So, find a topic that's interesting, and and keep putting stuff out there, because to have those followings, I think someone like Drew, Dr. Timmermans is a nerd when it comes to like osteopathic, just pain and all that stuff. And he was like that as a student, like he's a year above us. He was like that as a student, and when that guy graduated, he had 10,000 followers on Instagram. He's got like 20,000 now. It's really impressive, but he's really, really passionate about what he does. And I think that passion in any social media comes through and really helps attract people. Like Dr. Greenberg saying, it's, if you're getting out there on your own, it would be really great to walk into a clinic where a bunch of people are following you. So you're kind of known entity. So it definitely helps.
And also, once you are in practice, if you have the means to get in cahoots with like a marketing company that can really just take you to the next level, I would strongly suggest that. So my practice in particular, we had a pretty strong online presence, and we did the whole Instagram, Facebook, we had a blog and a website, but it wasn't until we actually joined forces with a marketing company who was able to put us out there like in a way that we weren't able to do so ourselves. I think that is a very big asset. So if you're able to set aside some money for marketing, I think that would be in the best interest for sure.
Going off what we were all just talking about, so as quarter ones, we've been told that we have to obviously be very cautious about what we're saying to anybody. And so how did you get around that, doing Instagrams and whatnot?
So, I don't know if it was Dr. Mitchell who told you guys that. That's who told us that scary talk during orientation. Whoever is that person who gave you that talk now, if you contact them and ask them what disclaimer you can use, there's always like a little thing you put at the very bottom of your post. Because they're not giving medical advice, and you're basically just talking about, hey, I was in Bot Med today and I learned about Leonaris. Let me tell you what it does for anxiety. I have anxiety, I use Leonaris, and it helps me feel like this, you know? Things like that, I think are okay to do, where you're just kind of talking about what you're learning, but you're not necessarily saying, hey, if you have anxiety, you should take Leonaris, and this is how you take it, and, you know? Also, usually the school, I'm pretty sure they're following you, they're looking at your posts, they're making sure that you're not giving out medical advice, so they'll notify you if you're doing something you're not supposed to, that's for sure. And you can always send them your posts ahead of time, be like, hey, is this okay? Just so you have all the bases covered. But it's no harm to just talk about what you're learning about in school. Or if you're like in dry lab and you want to take a picture of the skeleton, like, oh, look, I learned that this rib right here does whatever, you know, like things like that. People just like to see that.
Have any of you thought about teaching?
I would love to teach it. I would absolutely love to teach. I think, for me personally, I wanted to wait a couple of years until I was practicing, like at least 3 years, so I had something to bring to the table when I was teaching. They'd say like, oh, and I saw this patient that had whatever. I think it's always more entertaining for people that way. But I do know some of our classmates who went immediately into teaching because maybe they didn't want to practice right away, or they couldn't find something that they really loved. And as having a doctorate, you can just go into teaching to get a teaching license, so that's really cool. But you can get a lot of jobs like for anatomy and physiology and chemistry at like the community colleges. I'm not sure about ASU, but I know the community colleges are always looking for people.
Great Canyon also has people who do nursing school and some medical things like that, but some also teach to supplement their income too. So yeah,
As a resident, you have the opportunity to TA if you want, at least during your first year, and then and you do get paid for it. And then as a second year, some of the residents also teach classes. Maybe not like a full class for the whole quarter, but like a few classes during it, or like a small like lab class, stuff like that. So there are opportunities at the school. And I think once you graduate, even if you're not at the school, there are opportunities to TA back here, which I think a couple of our classmates or a couple years older people that graduated are doing. So it would be like, you know, once or twice a week for a couple hours or whatever. And I don't know what the pay is, but there are like smaller opportunities like that too.
Dr. Wright, how competitive was it to get the residency?
So residency in general is very competitive. I don't know if you have any stats on it that you want to share, but it is very competitive. Yeah. So you need to be a strong applicant, and also connections are really helpful. So like I said, like shadowing whoever you're interested in doing a residency with or whatever, so that they know who you are as a person, is really helpful. And then I just got lucky because the spot happened to open up, and so then there were only a couple of us who applied and interviewed at that time, and then I got it that way.
So you had to be rejected first before you could be accepted.
Yeah, so I had to, you know, take a big blow to the ego, and then I got a residency.
That's tough. And 17% of our alumni get residence. So it's competitive, it's very competitive. I mean, there may be as 20 applications for one spot. Anybody else have any questions?
Dr. Wright, you know, you're doing the residency.
So I have a second year, so I just started my second year, so I have another year here. I don't know for sure what I'll be doing. I have started to do some marketing stuff and things, at least when you're here in your residency, you don't necessarily have to market because you're seeing all the patients that are right here on the shifts. And if you want to see private patients, you can market it in that aspect, but you don't necessarily have to. So I haven't done a ton of stuff like they all have, but I am starting to sort of do that. And I don't have like a job lined up or anything. I would definitely love to stay, at the school part-time if I could, and then hopefully join another practice. I still don't want to just like be on my own.
That was one of my questions too.
What I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because residency eventually delays the inevitable.
Yes. I'm going out in the real world.
I'm going out in the real world for another year.
Yeah.
Okay, you have another question?
Yeah.
Since you always knew you were a resident in your residency, so you ever have a backup plan in case you weren't rejected and if the other opportunity didn't arise for you resident?
Honestly, no. I would recommend it, but I didn't. When I didn't match, I sort of started thinking that way, like looking at other opportunities, looking at any job link all the time, seeing what jobs were out there. And then, yeah, if this wouldn't have worked out, then I would have obviously, pursued that further, but.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend you to go on ndjoblink.com. ndjoblink.com is probably the most populated website for naturopathic jobs in the country, and SCNM sponsored it. So you can see, we would just advertise for a professor at the University of California in Irvine. You can teach at a university if you're looking for a naturopathic position. So there's just so much you can do with this degree. Don't worry so much about your grades, because grades are only important in this bubble. So that's another piece of advice. And the last person who graduates in the class is still called doctor. Okay, and your patients don't ask what your GPA is. They just want to get better. So, yeah.
Did you guys all graduate with high GPA? Just a quick.
Don't know.
Okay.
I'll say this, since you're all first and second years, I'm a high achiever. Like, I want to get a 4.0. I did an MBA and I was proud of myself, so I had 3.9. And it was the stupidest thing I ever did. And so when I came to SCNM and started taking all these sciences I completely blew off in undergrad. I was that high achiever, and I started to burn out hard to trying to get a 4.0. It's a race to the bottom. It's just, it's useless. Stay in your lane, pass what you can pass. That's the most important thing. There are going to be subjects that come up that you're not good at. Just be not good at them and rely on your friends and your study partners and others to help carry you through. Just, keep passing, keep, clearing your milestones, and it's all going to work out.
Study so that, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Study so that you understand the material. Don't care about the grades. I have a couple of friends who got really high grades, and now they don't remember a lot of it.
Right.
They just memorize things for the test. They didn't study for the full understanding. And so when their patients ask questions, they don't know how to answer it. And they consult other people. They're like, how does the gallbladder duct work? And how is that related to the liver? It's like, wait, what?
Right.
Well, you're a doctor, what? So don't care about the grades so much. They don't matter. Just like Joanna said, none of my patients have ever asked me what my GPA is.
Okay, this concludes our presentation. I want to make an advertisement. The next one will be here at noon, noon to 1 p.m., and it's all about ND residencies. You might want to come in and talk.